Okay. So they announced some cards initially. Let's just review them now. Spellword Jeweler. Neutral. 3 mana 3/4. Already very good stat line. 3 mana 3/4 is like worth playing if it has a decent effect. Your hero cannot be targeted by spells or hero powers until your next turn. That's a pretty sweet card. I feel like it counters OTK decks like, for example, Mali Druid. But it's only for 1 turn. Okay, I guess the 3 mana 3/4 is you play it for like the situations where you want to avoid getting OTK'd by spell decks. Or anything that targets your hero, I guess. And then it's a 3 mana 3/4 in the other matchups, so that you don't get wrecked by aggro. I feel like this card is good. It will definitely see play. Maybe not in the initial meta, because I think it's unlikely for combo decks to be that good in the initial meta. Usually once we get more cards with the next expansions afterwards, we are going to see more combo decks, and this card will be able to shine. But because it's a neutral, I feel like it will definitely see play at some point. At least as a tech card in tournaments. Not sure if it will be a ladder staple. The next card revealed is the Mage Legendary. 10 mana 4/12, Dragon. That's already like a classic stat line, sharing the same stats as Ysera and Malygos. Your first spell each turn costs 0. That's pretty good effect. Battlecry, discover a spell. I think it's an amazing card. Why? It does something instantly. It gives you a spell, and then it allows you to play a spell for 0. Even the turn you play this guy. So it's not a loss of tempo. I feel like this can make a double Pyroblast deck playable. Like you play this and play Pyroblast, and you get to discover another card. Maybe you can discover another Pyroblast, I don't know. But even if you discover a non-Pyroblast card, it's already very good. Why? Discovering a mage spell is Primordial Glyph, basically. So this guy is 10 mana 4/12, Primordial Glyph, and you get to play a card for free. And then if they don't deal with it, you get to play another card for free. This is nuts. This card is gonna be insane. I'm calling it now. It's an amazing card. This card is just Primordial Glyph on a stick. Chef Nomi, 7 mana 6/6. If your deck is empty, summon 6 6/6s. So you'll basically have up to full board of 6/6s, because this guy is also a 6/6. You play it in Myras, in Miracle Rogue. It's better than Falderai. I know, this card has some uses. The effect seems so nice, it will see play at some point. Probably in Myra's Rogue decks. Yeah, another amazing card. And it's neutral, so people are gonna make it work somehow. Also, like, it's very hard to AoE 6 6/6s. Like, even Flame Strike doesn't kill this board. I'm a bit worried, guys. First 3 cards, all of them seem very good. This is very good tech card. This is absolutely broken Mage Legendary. This is pretty good to broken neutral Legendary. Maybe this set is gonna have too much of a power level. Okay. I'll talk about power level in general after I finish this. Maybe I should do a standalone video on YouTube about power level. Anyways, the Forest Aid. The Forest's Aid. 8 mana, Twin Spell, summon 5/2 Trance. So Twin Spell is a new mechanic. It allows you to play the card twice. It's basically Echo, but you can do it only twice, and you can do it whenever. You can play it on turn 1, and then play it on turn 20. Obviously, you cannot play an 8 mana spell on turn 1, but I'm saying it's basically similar to Echo, but not really. So the general Twin Spell card is gonna follow the same pattern. It's gonna be a card a little bit worse than what you pay for, but because you can use it twice, you can get the value back in the long run. I really like this mechanic. I think it's healthy for the game to have something like this. It's also very skillful because once your opponent plays the card the first time, the opponent is aware of its existence, so you can play around the second copy. Summons 5/2/2 trends. I don't know. Can Token Druid play this? Is Token Druid going to exist with 3 mana Wild Growth, 6 mana Nourish? Like, this card would have been good, and maybe like good enough to replace UI, if Token Druid still had 2 mana Wild Growth and 5 mana Nourish. With the nerfed Wild Growth and the nerfed Nourish, I'm not sure if Token Druid will exist. If Token Druid will exist, this can be like a good one-off in it, but it's probably not that good of a card. Hagata Scheme. Deal 1 damage to all minions, upgrades each turn. So yeah, Scheme is another type of card that they just released for the newest expansion. Basically, every single turn it stays in your hand, it upgrades by 1. So, if this stays in your hand for like 1 turn, it will deal 2 damage. 2 turns, it will deal 3 damage. The upside of Schemes is that they go infinite. Like, you can deal 100 damage AoE. So when is 5 mana AoE good? It's to all minions, so it's similar to Dragon's Fury. So if it deals like 4 or 5, it's already pretty good. So it's a card you want to keep in your mulligan to be able to play on turn 5 on curve. I think it's a fantastic card, especially with Volcano rotating out since it's Angoro. This is gonna be like a very good AoE for Shaman. Absolutely great card. The downside of Schemes, they're awful top deck. So I cannot say how good Scheme is going to be without actually getting to play it. Like, they need to be really insane when you hold them in your hand for a while, because they're so awful when you top deck them. Like, I assume every single Scheme that is gonna get released is gonna be total garbage if you top deck it. So they're good in a deck that can afford to top deck it and not play it instantly. So in a control deck, pretty much. You cannot play this in an aggro deck. Obviously, it kills the entire board, but maybe there will be more aggressive Schemes, and those you can still probably not play in aggro because they're not consistent. But it depends on them. Like, if they're game winning, maybe you'll just play them in aggro and hope you get them in your starting hand or something like that. But again, very cool design. I love it. I love the mechanic. And I love the power level of the card. I think it can do a lot of things in Shaman. Especially with no Volcano, is gonna be better than Lightning Storm, let's say. Evil Miscreant. Combo, add 2 random Lackeys in your hand. Lackey is another mechanic that comes with the expansion. You should watch the video to like see more about it. It's similar to spare parts, but it's minions like that have spare parts, kind of. Spare part-ish effects. So how good is this? 3 mana 1/5 tempo card? Maybe it will be good, but I don't know. I feel like Rogue is more likely to want to play aggressively, and this kind of card is not gonna see play. This kind of card seems similar to Xariel, that was like a Rogue legendary from like a while ago. I'm not sure if Miracle Tempo Rogue wants to play with this kind of card. It really depends on the power level of the Lackeys. I will probably do an analysis very soon on the power level of the Lackeys, and then we see how it goes. But yeah, it's a decent card. Forbidden Words, spend all your mana, destroy a minion with that much attack or less. That's interesting. I feel like it's good for Priest. It's very good removal. And it's similar to the rituals that we had in Whispers of the Old Gods, where you spend all your mana and do something. I feel like it can be very good removal for Priest. Yeah, it's a top tier card. And then the last one revealed is Arch Villain Rafam. Replace your hand and deck with legendary minions. This is a throwback to Elise and the Golden Monkey from League of Explorers. Yeah, it's a very good card. It's a legendary, you play it, instantly gives you tons of value. If you can combine it with something that makes your deck bigger, then this can be like absolutely insane in like fatigue matches. yeah, very good card. Again, all the cards they showed so far are very juicy. The one thing I'm worried about is that the power level is gonna be very, very high of this expansion. Already like seeing these high power level cards. Like, the power level they showed with these cards is like higher than what we got in the last year. On the other hand, even if this expansion is high power level, that's fine as long as the expansions afterwards are going to be high power level. Basically, in my opinion, once you commit to a power level for cards, you should just maintain it. Or like increase it. It's bad when you decrease it. For example, look at the power level of Angoro, Knights of the Frozen Throne, and then, what was the next one? Maybe chat can help me. Kobolds and Catacombs, yeah. Those three had super high power level. But then they went down with the power level on Witchwood. And they kept the low power level going into Boomsday. A bit higher than Witchwood. And then they went again down with Rastakhan. So from here, since these are the expansions that remain in the game, I feel like this expansion right now that they just announced, Rise of Shadows, kind of has to be low power level 2 in order to make the other expansions shine. But maybe because, maybe even if it's a bit higher power level, it will still make the other expansions shine more than they shine now, because this is still not power level of Death Knights, let's say. And again, it might still play out fine as long as the next expansions that follow this expansion are also high power level. But basically, my only fear with high power level expansions is that you have to make the next expansion at least the same high power level. Because otherwise you're gonna have what we faced last year, with very few cards being playable. And then people complain the metagame is similar and like the game is less enjoyable. But I think the designers know better than me what they're doing, so let's just analyze the cards and then play the expansion to see for ourselves. But these cards look super promising, maybe too powerful some of them, but powerful cards are fun in card games. You wanna do powerful things, you wanna do big things, and yeah, I'm pretty excited. So I'll do more reviews once we know more cards. And yeah, that's my review for like the first cards. Thank you for watching.